Hi friends, welcome back. After this session, you will have total clarity on simple and compound interest and some basic formula regarding simple and compound interest. First of all, we should know that simple interest is only on initial principal. I repeat, simple interest is only calculated on initial principal. What does this mean? It means that on 1st January 2013, if I deposit 1000 rupees at 10% per annum, then for the whole of 2013, the interest on 1000 rupees will be 100 rupees. So at the end of the year, my account will have a balance of 1100. This 1100 is transferred on 1st January 2014 in my account. So now for the whole of 2014, I will get interest at 10% per annum, not on 1100 but on 1000 only, because the interest is calculated as simple interest. So again I will get 100 rupees as interest, total becomes 1200. This 1200 is transferred in my account on 1st January 2015. So I have a principal of 1200. But again, because it is simple interest, I will get interest on initial 1000 only. So another 100 rupees, I get 1300 at the end of 2015. So what we can see here is 1000 after 1 year becomes 1100, 1100 after 1 year becomes 1200, 1200 after another year becomes 1300. The amount grows under simple interest in an arithmetic progression. What happens if it is compound interest? Under compound interest, you get interest on interest. So the main thing is, under compound interest, you get interest on interest also. What does this mean in the above example? Well, like before, I deposit 1000 rupees on 1st January 2013. For the first year, I get 100 rupees, that is 10% of 1000. So at the end of the year, I have 1100. Beginning of next year, I have 1100. This time, because the interest is compound interest, I will get interest not on 1000 but on 1100. So for the whole of 2014, at 10% on 1100, I get 110 rupees. So at the end of 2014, on 31st December 2014, my principal becomes 1210. This is carried forward to 1st January 2015. Now, this 1210 rupees, for the whole of 2015, I get another 10% on this amount, not on the previous 1000. And so at the end of 2015, I have got 1331 in my account. So if you compare, under simple interest, I was getting 1300. Under compound interest, I get 1331. When the rate of interest was 10%. So obviously, anybody would prefer compound interest over simple interest if the rate of interest is same. Now, there is a sum, typical sum based on this, which says, let us say simple interest for 2 years, in this above example was 100 plus 100, 200 rupees, we call it as 2y, therefore y becomes 100. Now compound interest for 2 years. Compound interest for 2 years was 100 plus 110, that is 210. Let us call it as 2y plus x. So 2y is 200, therefore x equal to 10 rupees. What is this 10? This 10 is the extra interest I got in 2 years. Under simple interest, I had got 200 rupees. Just check it. Under simple interest, I got 100 plus 100, 200. Under compound interest, I got 100 plus 110, 210. Now if I am told to find out the rate of interest, I can easily find out what is the rate per annum R, that is nothing but x divided by y into 100. In our case, it is 10 divided by 100, x is 10, y is 100 into 100. So the rate is 10%. This is a very typical sum that you will find in many books. Now, there is another empirical formula, doubling period. We all want to know in how many years, in how many days our money will double. Well, doubling period in years under compound interest, doubling period in years under compound interest is given by n equal to 72 by r. This is an empirical formula. N equal to 72 by r, where n is the number of years, r is the rate of interest per annum, and it is compound interest. R is interest per annum. So suppose we are told R is 6%. So in how many years my money will double? Well, n equal to 72 by 6, 12 years. If R is 9%, then N is 72 by 9, 8 years. So at 6%, my money doubles in 12 years under compound interest. And at 9%, my money will double in 8 years. This is an empirical formula. You will do well if you remember this. Another useful tool for simple and compound interest is the amount table. Amount table means what is the amount after so many years. Amount table under simple interest grows in arithmetic progression. I will repeat. Amount table, that means final amount under simple interest, grows in arithmetic progression. Let's take an example. We start with 0th year with the principal of A. In n years, if A becomes 2A, then in 2n years, A will become 3A. In 3n years, A will become 4A. In 4n years, A will become 5A. Every n years, A is added. Every n years, A is added here. So suppose I start with 100 rupees, after 5 years, 100 becomes 200. Then if I start with 100, after 10 years, 100 will become 300. After 15 years, 100 will become 400 and so on. Look at another example. Again under simple interest. If A becomes 3A in n years, then in 2n years, it will become 5A. In 3n years, A will become 7A and so on. Again, the amount will be in arithmetic progression. So suppose I start with 100. Let's say in 10 years, 100 becomes 300. Then in 20 years, 100 will become 500. In 30 years, 100 will become 700 and so on. Again, what happens to this if we follow compound interest? So we have another table, amount table under compound interest. Note, compound interest grows in GP. Amount under compound interest goes in geometric progression. What does it mean for us? Well, if a principal of A becomes 2A in n years, then in 2n years it becomes 4A, in 3n years it becomes 8A and so on. Say 100 becomes 200 in 10 years, then 100 will become 400 in 20 years. This is what it simply means. Or 100 will become 800 in 30 years. Similarly, let's say A becomes 3A in n years, then in 2n years A will become 9A. That is, suppose 100 becomes 300 in 5 years, then 100 will become 900 in 10 years. 100 will become 2700 in 3n years and so on. Hope this concept is clear to you. Next we come to a very basic formula in simple and compound interest. If you understand this formula, then half your battle is won. We all know this probably. Amount equal to principal into 1 plus r by 100 to the power n. We will just redefine everything. A is the amount after n periods. Remember, I am not saying years, okay? A is the amount after n periods. P is the initial amount or principal. P is the initial amount or principal. A is the amount after n periods. R is the rate of interest per period. Again, I am not saying R is the rate of interest per annum. R is the rate of interest per period. Period here means compounding period. We will just understand this a little later. And n is the number of periods for which we are calculating. Let us assume the principal to be 1000 rupees and the rate per annum. Again, here we are talking of rate per annum is 12%. So what happens? If I put 1000 rupees for 3 years, the compounding period is annual. That means my interest is calculated annually. Then according to the formula, the amount after 3 years will be principal 1000 into 1 plus R for 1 year is 12%. So 12 by 100. N is the number of annual compoundings is 3 in 3 years. So exponent is 3. Now what happens if I put the money for 3 years, but the compounding is done half yearly or every 6 months. So the calculation will change. My principal is same, but R means I am now calculating for 6 months. R was 12% per annum, so for 6 months it is 6%. And in 3 years I will get 6 half years, so N becomes 6 here. I will repeat, R here is interest for 6 months. Since the rate was 12% per annum, so in 6 months the rate is 6%, and in 3 years I get 6 half years, so power will be 6. Suppose I put the money for 3 years 2 months at 6 monthly calculation, 6 monthly compounding, then what happens? Well, for the 3 years I get same as the red one, 1000 into 1 plus 6 by 100 to the power 6. What about the extra 2 months? Because we are putting for 3 years 2 months. For 2 months the rate is 2%. For 12 months 12%, so for 2 months it is 2%. This is called broken period. And it is 1 plus 2 by 100 because I will have this amount plus 2% of this amount. So 1 plus 2 by 100 in the bracket. Now let us do one more calculation. If I am putting the money for 3 years 2 months and 3 monthly compounding, the compounding of interest is every quarter, then figure changes. 1000. Now 12% per annum is 3% per quarter. In 3 years I have 12 quarters, so n is 12. Again I am left with a broken period of 2 months. For 2 months the rate of interest is 2%, so again I multiply this whole thing by 1 plus 2 by 100. I hope you will not have any issues under simple and compound interest after going through this tutorial. Thanks, cheers, best of luck.